You know how often we hear from people that whenever they decide to
table, when you're touching the table, it's
okay.
rocking.
So we hear it from so many people that whenever they want to get on the path of self-betterment, self-awareness, and so on, they get all kinds of obstacles, right? And something always happens that prevents them from taking that extra step, So, yeah, and a lot of people ask us, is that are those self-made obstacles? And yes, actually, our subconscious, so to speak, it would create all kinds of obstacles in order to prevent people from developing. So we are hoping that everybody who registered will still be joining us, but if not, there will be a recording of the webinar, and we will get started because we like to be on time.
When you're touching the table, it's rocking.
We like to be on time, and we want to respect everybody's time. So thank you for joining us. And today we are talking about detox. And Dr. Nature will tell us about the nature of detox. What is detox, right? And he will also cover, let me pull this up. He will also cover why the topic of, well, the topic of detox. Yes, what is detox? Is it a natural bodily function? Is it something else? Why do we need to detox, right? And in the words of our Dr. Nature, virtually any disease is the result of internal body pollution. So, and he will tell you more about this. How can a detox help, right? Because more and more people are getting sicker and sicker, and disease comes at an ever early age. So, with every generation, people are getting sicker, like, right? And earlier in life. So obviously it starts in as early as childhood, if not before that. So then he will cover types of detox, common mistakes that people make, because there are a lot of people out there who attempt to do a detox, but they're unsuccessful for whatever reason, whether it's the wrong season, where they approach it the wrong way, because detox is actually a very individual science and art. There is nothing more individual than a detox. But there are very common mistakes people make, and there are also time-proven common ways to make the detox effective. So this is what we will be talking about today. So, Dr. Nature, if you could please take over.
Thank you very much for having me on the webinar, and I greet everybody who's joined us. Thank you very much, guys. We like to be more interactive. I don't want to have this format when I speak and you just absorb, and if you don't absorb, you don't speak, and I don't notice that you don't understand. And so let's just make it interactive, and based on your experiences, this is what we'd like to discuss and see what challenges you may have had, during detoxes, if you had any, or just like generally, if you're getting the information what I'm talking about. Maybe if I talk a little bit too complicated, stop me, and let's communicate. So I will like that. So also, before perceiving the information, we might want to do a little like 30 seconds breathing time, like relaxing and calming down. This always helps. It focuses the mind better. All right, so let's do that. Just breathe, focus on your breathing for 30 seconds, and then we'll continue. One more breath. Let's open our eyes and run back. Thank you very much. This 30 minutes breaks, they do miracles. Even sometimes when we're so busy and hectic, we think that even 30 seconds is like a big break, especially if you're in the middle of something, but it really does wonders. So let's talk about detox, and from probably different perspectives. Um, Before we talk about what is detox, we need to understand why we're doing it and what is the pollution that we're trying to get rid of and where do we get it. We all know, and it's very common notion, where pollution comes from. Number one, pollution is, of course, is the one that we ingest. We ingest pollution from the external environment through our food, through our water, through our air, and through the subtle senses, through our senses. For example, abusive language can also be toxic, right? And that is mental pollution. And some like actions can hurt people, and that can also create some pollution in the mental realm as well. And that can be very disturbing to the body in the long run. So we underestimate that kind of pollution. But when we talk about the gross pollution, we need to consider primarily the inorganic compounds like heavy metals, salts of heavy metals, and different chemicals, and very hard to digest food particles or articles, such as very heavy complex proteins and polymeric carbohydrates that do produce some undesired effect in our digestive tract, especially gluten, those full of lectins products, they do pollute our body um, fairly badly. So this pollution, when it gets inside the body, it gets overwhelmed with mucus. Our body produces the mucus specifically for the reason to separate, to isolate all those pollutants and excrete them in a most efficient way. And when we ingest and digest food, also what happens is sometimes when our digestion is suffering, the food does not break down fully, especially in the stomach. Stomach suffers mucus accumulation. Stomach is a very mucousy organ. It produces a lot of mucus, even though it produces the hydrochloric acid, and people think that, oh, stomach is acidic organ. How come that there's mucus in it? But yes, in the lower part of the stomach, a lot of mucus is produced. And that's for the reason of arresting the toxins and excreting them in the most efficient way. However, if we don't take care of our stomach in the long run, this pollution, this mucus accumulates and prevents specifically proteins from being digested well in the first chamber of our digestive tract, which is the stomach. The stomach juices become very scarce and poor, lower quality. The proteins that we consume, especially if they denatured, if they are very tough proteins, and let's say cooked proteins, grilled or boiled, then these denatured proteins do not really break down well enough by our digestive juices, even if we produce them in a sufficient manner. But the lower digestive juices would do even worse job. So these undigested particles, they go from the stomach into the small intestine. And the controversy between digestion in the stomach and small intestine is very obvious, because in the stomach, we have the acidic type of digestion. In the small intestine, we have the alkaline type. The bile and acid, they are in controversy. But what happens is that once the mucus is accumulating in the stomach, it stretches and regurgitates the pyloric sphincter and allows for the bile and the content of the small intestine to regurgitate inside the stomach and produce some very poor chemical reactions, right? So when acid reacts with a base, we have reaction of pretty much burning and this is what we experience: the heartburn. The heartburn with accumulation of salts. These salts then further liquefy this mucus inside the intestinal tract, and not all of this pollutant mucus, which is now also accumulates the poorly digested fragments of proteins. It accumulates all of this together. And not only the proteins, of course, we know that the bacterial infection is also the protein. And once they get in the stomach, and our stomach, in fact, is the chamber where the neutralization of the infection happens. But this infection is also the protein. And the protein, like I said, does not digest well in the stomach if it is already affected by the mucus accumulation. And so what happens is that this mucus then goes into the small intestine, and it may get a little bit more liquefied there because of the salts, salt content of the bile, and maybe we also add salts, and specifically people who do experience the digestive issues or digestive congestion, they like to go for salts. They like the salty food. And this has the reason, because salt actually liquefies this mucus and makes it easy to expel. But on the other hand, it liquefies it to be able to overflow into the blood circulation. And once the mucus overflows into the blood circulation, it produces the very poor effect, which is the allergic reaction, antigen antibody, because mucus, it consists of a lot of fragments of denatured proteins, which are not broken down to the amino acids. And if it is not the amino acid, then the body will not take it as a protein. It will view it as a antigen. Of course, because it's a fragment of protein, it's not the amino acid. The body cannot reuptake it or reutilize it. So now it has to eliminate it. And for that, it will start producing the macrophages, or the immune cells. And there we have the reaction antigen antibody, where the antibody are now neutralizing these fragments of proteins and mucus for elimination, to take them to the liver and further to eliminate. And but while doing that, we suffer inflammation, we suffer the effect of this reaction going on. And that's not the fact that this pollutant will be excreted timely, because considering that the liver may also be affected by this mucus, will reduce the function of liver to eliminate these toxins. Well, right now I'm talking a little bit more maybe complicated. I mean, if everybody's following me.
We have a few questions actually
okay.
on our
Yeah, let's do that.
Yes, on our social channels. So if I how do I know that I need a detox? If I have headaches, for example, does it mean that my body needs a detox?
Yes. Like was mentioned earlier, any disease virtually stems from the toxins, and definitely detox will help eliminate the headache as well. But if the headaches remains, that does not mean that detox didn't work. That may mean that their toxins are lodged even deeper in the tissues, and maybe producing some other effects. And further consideration would be required. And the one detox may not get rid of conditions. Again, it depends on the complexity of the condition. Like I said, the toxins, they may be superficial, they may be lodged deep in the tissues. And when we work with the superficial toxins, and conditions that depend on superficial toxins will go away. But those conditions that are developed from the deep toxins, deeply seated toxins, those conditions will need further consideration and practice.
But in any way, every detox helps, right? It helps to start chipping away at those
chipping away little by little.
Mucousy deposits.
Let's say that somebody never done detox, accumulated a lot of toxins inside the body, would not even know how to approach this, and suffers a lot of conditions, goes to see a lot of doctors, takes medications, and medications do not really detox, even though there is a little factor that it does detox too. But medications are designed to tweak the processes, the biochemistry within our body, to kind of adjust our body to the presence of these toxins, instead of actually eliminating the toxins and restoring the bodily functions. It actually puts the other workload on our body by tweaking the biochemistry, which is not the right way, and then we suffer, and we suffer further. So detox is the beginning, and this is the healing modality. In fact, this was the main healing modality up to like maybe 200 years ago. Oriental medical systems, they are all based on the practice of detox in different way, at the basic level, at a more complex and subtle level, where we are pursuing specific condition, but that condition will also be based on some sort of toxins lodged in a depth of tissues, in a depth of organs, or the effects of those toxins that were nesting in the tissues and then were relodged, and then some effect, some diversified tissue in that spot remains, and we need to address that. But yes, definitely. This is the way to approach any condition.
Yes, and we have so many people that we work with that come to us with even mystery issues. So for example, a woman in her early 30s, so she went to at least 3 different doctors, she told us, that could not figure out what was going on with her. So she had hair loss, she had all kinds of skin conditions, she didn't have energy. And they all tested her, did all the standard lab work, and nothing, it didn't show anything. So they could not figure out. And so what we did, Dr. Nature, he administered some type of cascading detox, and it took care of all her conditions, and she's super happy now. And so this is just an example of, when you would need a detox. Another extreme example would probably be when we have clients with health issues and calcifications in their blood vessels and arteries. So that's not an easy situation. It takes a lot of perseverance, it takes a lot of work, but if you are diligent enough to go through with this long-term detox, then the situation can be improved. So for example, and let me tell you, so those calcifications can be so hard inside of the arteries that you can actually, it would take a chisel to get rid of the calcification. So there are proven ways to work on those problems as well. Ancient Ayurvedic ways, and Dr. Nature also follows the science, modern science as well. So that can be helpful sometimes. But just wanted to give you an example of the range, right, of the situations when a detox would help. So
I would add here is that there are 2 levels that detox may be taken and practiced. The first level is when you just want to maintain your good health and optimal health and be active and energetic, which is a wonderful thing. And if you do that for that reason, then you're on the path of evolving, even by all the 3 subtle bodies. By all 3 expressions, which is the body, mental, and spiritual expression. If you're doing that routinely, the detox routinely, you are on a good path to evolve in all of those 3 expressions. And the other level of detox is the healing detox, when we do apply that to specific conditions, and sometimes very complex conditions. Very complex conditions cannot go with just like regular detox. They need some consideration before, very subtle consideration. The more complex the condition, the more subtle the approach should actually be. And so before applying the detox for specific conditions, some, like I said, consideration, consultation would be needed. to evaluate and understand at which level of preparedness we can be according to the detox. And so that would be the second level of approaching this.
By the way, please keep placing your questions in the Q&A session or the chat. We will get back to them, we promise you. And we have a few more questions.
Yes.
That pertain to this. So I eat fairly healthy. So why would I need a detox if I don't experience many health issues? Okay, so I would like to get started with that. So everybody's definition of healthy may be different, right? So for somebody, boiled chicken and broccoli, for example, is healthy because they're saying I'm not eating fried chicken. So for somebody, plant-based or vegan, whole foods vegan would be healthy. So it really depends on your definition of healthy, right? And then there is a standard.
Well, again, relatively healthy, that means there's some health issues or some problems or something bothering. That doesn't mean it's yet expressed as a symptom or condition yet. There's no diagnosis, but there's premonition or some intuitive feeling of something is off balance, something is wrong, something's going on wrong. I'm getting tired, I'm getting like these different things like, breakouts here and, different sensations all over the body. That means that you are already accumulating toxins, and this is the level where we need to start working proactively to avoid the development of further condition. This is the level where the Western medicine, that's allopathic medicine, would not yet address it because they need certain physical manifestation. Up until that point, and if the tests check out fine, the premonition would or the intuitive feeling would not be considered. But in Oriental medicine, this is the indicator that we consider. First is your internal inner sensation of everything is either good or something is off balance. And if you feel something is off balance, we definitely start balancing it, and before we see the symptom. We would actually even recommend a healthier lifestyle to any individual, no matter how healthy they may feel. There's always a way to get even better, to optimize your physiology even better, to increase your energy level, to the point where you just don't really feel exhaustion, and you may perform any task, and you have the energy to even to self-develop. This is the surplus of energy that we really want to achieve in order for you to use this surplus of energy for self-development and evolution, the mental evolution and spiritual evolution. This is what we need the energy for. So it all comes down to the energy. If you are satisfied with the level of your energy, that's fine. It's always, your individual decision, whether you want it or not. Here in this question, I hear that the person is questioning her current state. She thinks that she's okay, but she feels like there's something else that she can do. She maybe intuitively want it, but she's questioning, why do I feel it? Do I need it or do I not? Maybe detox is good, but I'm eating good, I'm relatively healthy. Do I think that there's toxins? If I'm not feeling really well, if I'm low in energy, that definitely means that there are toxins that are preventing the energy flow into all the distal peripheral organs, systems, and areas in the body, which gets us back to understanding that we really need this energy in order to increase the quality of life. It's not about health. To a certain point, it's about health, of course, but then it goes beyond health. It becomes about your endurance, about your level of energy, about the quality of life, and so on.
Consciousness.
And consciousness.
And spirituality,
yes,
all those things,
correct.
yes. And also wanted to add that if the bottom line is, if you ever in your life ate animal products, if you ever in your life ate cooked food, any type of cooked food, even if it's brown rice, even if it's buckwheat, even if it's legumes, even if they are whole food, right? Not refined. So if you ever used cosmetics, if you do not regularly detox, then even if you do not have any particular or strong or bad health issues at the moment, it still means you do need a detox so that those issues do not develop in the future. So, and one last question pertaining to this: if I'm whole foods, plant-based, and skinny, why would I need a detox?
All right. The toxins, they, especially that mucus, which is like modified mucus, because it undergoes transformation in many ways, and they do get also in different shapes, inside our body. And one of these shapes is the cysts or the neoplasms, tumors. Where they come from? This is a pollution, but what kind of pollution? First, the pussy cysts would form, and that forms because this mucus cannot find the way out of the body. It flows in the blood circulation, but the body cannot allow the mucus to float freely within the blood because it's dangerous. So what the body does, it puts it in the tissues, or it just does not allow for those toxins to even exit the tissue up until it's ready to take it out. And the body is waiting for the moment for the organs to be open in order to start working on that pollution. But until then, that pollution will accumulate within the tissues and become like the cysts of pus, with full of proteins of decay, very stinky, like the stinky, like a dead body stinky type of thing, pollution inside the body. And I've seen this. I've worked in oncology. I've seen these tumors. I've seen how this pus comes out of these tumors, things like that. So it's real, and it does not look good, really, believe me. So those that pollution accumulates within the body, and it's really hard to break it and pull it out. So the toxins are not only within digestive tract or liver or kidneys. Yes, there's some calcification, some modified salts of sodium inside of our connective tissue in the joints, calcification in the artery, in the plaque, cholesterol, and all that. Yes, we talk about that, and that's pollution, of course. But there is another pollution, which is that pus in the form of cysts within the tissues, and that is very dangerous. That is kind of ultimate pollution that we want to extract, because working on calcifications is basically opening up the pathways, getting the pathways ready to excrete the pollution, which is nesting in a higher tissue in the form of those cysts. That's what we're getting ready by breaking down calcification and the fat and triglycerides and LDLs, excreting them from the liver. And that is only the prep. And then after that, we need to break those cysts and start pulling them out very carefully. That's another level of detox. Now, when we talk about skinny people who think that they eat right, with the skinny people, it happens even worse. What happens is that doesn't mean that they don't accumulate this pollution. They think that they're skinny and they don't have this pollution. Somehow, chubby people associate with accumulation of toxins for us, right? But really, it's not like that. People who have like a more massive body, different constitution, they actually may excrete pollution easier than those that are skinny and tall, let's say, because their constitution is drying. It's more drier constitution. The people with a more moist constitution would be more adequate to liquefy, emulsify toxins and get them prepared to eliminate for elimination. But people of a drier and leaner constitution would actually develop this coldness and dryness inside the body, where that makes this pollution hard as like a rock, basically, as hard as rock. And now it's becoming even harder to break that pollution within the tissue. It takes us to introduce a lot of moisture and a lot of emulsifying agents inside of the bloodstream of that type of person. And it's even more advised to with that constitution to do the detox somewhere in a tropical climate, go into the southern states or Florida, or well, anywhere you can find the hot weather, and maybe salt water also would be good for people of that constitution to go through detox with best results possible, and generally to balance. People with a dry constitution are very hard to balance, and they need to consider their physiology even more carefully, not making a mistake thinking that if they thin and lean, that's already sign of their natural health. No, it's not like that. It's actually more challenging, like I said. Yes. Thank you. All right, those are good questions. So do we have more questions?
We do, but let's keep going down the list.
All right.
So we discussed why to detox, how can a detox help? We discussed that. So what is a detox, or would you like to do the video now?
Well, let's touch quickly upon other 2 points, maybe types of detox. Well, like I said, the detox can be on 2 levels: is the maintenance detox and healing detox for specific conditions. Now, detox can also be it can be modified in any way possible. You can do juicing, you can do fasting, you can do just intestinal flush, you can do the liver tubage. Those are good approaches, good modalities. But generally, detox can be long-term, short-term. It can be superficial and can be deep. So it can be supplemented, or it can be just like pure natural, like fasting, for example, with water, with maybe a little specific preparation, but nothing complicated. We can supplement the detox with cleansing agents, oils and herbs, and juices and smoothies. We can combine them with periods of fasting, and see how we can provide help to our body while seeing the challenges that it actually is going through, because there's a lot of challenges while doing the detox, and those are largely misunderstood by people because they may not have practiced it ever before. And generally, detox modality is not very well articulated in the medical system, and doctors would not really know what it means and how to go through it. There's some research and studies being done about fasting and how what processes turn on while fasting for 1 day to 3 days. This is what doctors are all about now. They go and analyze and try to explain this. But further, what happens further in detox, if you were to do it longer or deeper, then what happens there, and what is the natural way of supporting your effort and make it even more effective. Because one thing is when you're detoxing, and let's say you're fasting naturally, you think you don't need anything, and then 3 days into your fasting, you're experiencing a challenge of the glycolysis, for example, and this is the crisis time, right? This is time of crisis where if you knew how to assist your body, you would actually do some routines and procedures that can help you go through this crisis quicker with better results, excreting those toxins faster with more quality. Like, for example, like enemas, with certain herbs and certain oils, certain massages, and certain yoga poses, certain breathing can help you during this crisis time to go through it easier, nicer, and gentler, without having the harsh effect of toxins on your tissues. And then you drift into the second stage into the lipolysis, for example, right? And then what you need to do and what you need to know while you're being in that phase of lipolysis, what your body does and what to expect during this time. Now and then people get really scared because they may see some manifestation while being in a certain stage of detox or fasting, and that scares them. And doctors don't know how to explain them. So what they do, they cut their detox effort cold turkey. And if that is done, that actually can bring even worse result. You cannot abruptly stop detox or fasting. That is a bad mistake, really bad mistake. So even if you are scared or averse by the experience, you need to respect your previous effort and respect this concept and make the effort to exit it in the gentlest, nicest way, so that it doesn't take toll on you with the further consequences. So that would be probably the main mistake or consideration, is how to exit it. And during detox, toxins, they are pulled into circulation. They start circulating in the blood and looking for the pathway out. And that's why we need to get the pathways out first before we pull toxins from tissues into circulation. And what we want to do during this phase is not be like, talking about mistakes, not be scared if we see the manifestations of different sorts, because again, that's another consideration. If the pathways are not open wide enough or are not open at all, these toxins will not be able to exit or get eliminated.
Explain which pathways.
The pathways are the organs of elimination. They're the same as the organs of assimilation. It is the liver, kidneys, colon, which is the large intestine. Those are the gross pathways that we really need to be concerned with. As long as we're taking good care of those three gross major elimination pathways, we are on a level, on a path to success, no matter how subtle we want to go.
Basically, if those organs are clogged, if they're congested, it means that the toxins will not have a way out of the body, right?
Correct, yes. And then while in circulation, they will relodge in different systems and organs, causing different conditions and symptoms. And additional, yes, or different. Maybe those will pass, or something will transform and modify, but the person may come out with having something else now, detox. That is the mistake people make, and then they wonder how come, and they write off this detox, and they think this is not the right way to go because they just don't do it right.
So I just want to emphasize, because this is probably the most important point to understand, is that when people try to attempt to do a detox, right? And so for example, yesterday they were eating pizza, and today they're going into juicing or trying to fast, for example, right? Or something like that. So most likely they will have a bad experience with the detox, because as they stop eating solid foods, or especially, those heavy foods, the toxins will start exiting. They will start entering the bloodstream. And when the organs of elimination are clogged, when the intestines are clogged, right, with all the mucus, with all the sludge, with all of the remnants of the unhealthy foods, so the toxins do not have a way out, and they're continuing to stay in the body. So first of all, the person feels very, very bad during the detox, and secondly, all those toxins that could not exit the body, they now go into new places to hide. So hence more symptoms, so more illnesses, basically. So it's very important to, before you attempt a detox, it's very important to do the right kind of preparation to kind of free up those pathways.
So those three major pathways, yes, there are more, of course. Lungs and the skin, of course, is one of the major organs of elimination, and taking care of skin is also a consideration while doing detox, of course. And then the subtle organs of elimination, those are sensory organs, our mouth, nose, ears, eyes, basically, and we do eliminate from them too. And the female reproductive system is also an organ of elimination. Now, about the subtle detox, somebody who is taking care of these three major organs of elimination, like I said, the large intestine, liver, and the kidneys, and you can just do it repeatedly now and then, every, for example, 6 months. You want to do some sort of phase cleansing phase to your liver, and then to your kidney, and then to your large intestine. Well, begin from large intestine, of course, first. But if you're doing that routinely, the body will know how to do the subtle elimination on its own. Our body is very intelligent, and as long as you're keeping your liver and your large intestine and your kidneys intact and take good care of those organs, your body will automatically know how not to allow toxins accumulate within the subtle tissues, right? And that's just as easy as that. But we can, of course, knowing this process, we can further assist and help the body to remove the toxins even from the higher tissues as well.
We have a few questions.
Yes, okay.
I started having hair loss after a juice cleanse that I did in the winter.
Well,
so I guess now the person
there are
is
few
weird.
things, yes, because after doing juice cleanse, okay, well, the likelihood of the hair loss after juice cleanse is because of the fungal infection, because fungal infection may manifest once you do the cleanse. The first detox may not actually produce huge results, but it will definitely show you what the problems are and what you're having in the body that you need to address. Because during that time, the body kind of gets ready to start working on your issues and deeper issues. It scans itself, and then it produces you with some superficial symptoms of organs that are in problem, and you will know this is what I might need to start addressing further while doing, the pursuing natural health. And alopecia, which is the hair loss, may be conditioned by the virome or the accumulation of the fungal infection or the viral infection or fungal, more like, and that means that that this detox has actually showed some concern with that. Because because if the hair loss happened like really quickly after juice cleanse, I would assume this is the fungal infection that does that. Some skin, if the hair loss occurred during some like stretch time over like a course of 6 months to a year, then we can talk about some depletion of minerals and vitamins and collagen and other things, and then we would have to figure out what there is that we are not being balanced with. So if the long-standing concern like that would require consultation, of course.
And what about the seasonality factor? How is it important when doing a detox?
Of course, and that's what I mentioned about when I talked about the constitution of people. The leaner, drier constitution would not tolerate cold season. That means, of course, and specifically doing detox during winter, specifically for those people, would be very much contraindicated, right? But doing detox for people with hotter constitution and moist constitution during winter would not be the best idea either. But springtime is the perfect time for detox, because this is the kind of time when the toxin like moving, when the tissue relaxes and allows the moisture to kind of penetrate through, and the body is naturally ready to detox, because after long winter it has accumulated some toxic compounds yes, within tissues, and it will definitely be ready to, because during winter tissues are in the constricted state. Let's say when they're constricted, they retain the toxins within without causing you any consideration or problem, and you can tolerate winter fine. But when spring comes, that constriction releases, the body becomes soft and moist. Toxins are on the move, they get into the circulation, the body is trying to expel them through the upper body, through the tonsils, and this is when people end up having a lot of flu and colds. And it's not because it's not really because of an infection. Infection is a secondary factor. It is because of that mucus is on the move, because it was frozen or it was constricted in winter, and now it's on the move and it's being removed. This viscous sludgy or thinned down mucus is going through the nasal passages, and bacteria joins, infection joins in, and we end up with colds and flus. But like I said, infection is never the first part. It's never the first reason, because infection is the living entity, right? It's a predator. It wants to eat. That's all it does. If there's no food, there's no sense for it to be there,
And they're not feasting on greens, right?
Right, of course. And we know that first it's food, then the consumer, right? It's never the other way around. You cannot have a consumer in the empty field without the food, right? So the food grows. That means that first we need to create this favorable environment within our body for the infection to come and start helping us remove it, because this is their food. And sometimes people think the other way around. They think that, oh, we have this infection because this infection is bad, because it wants to harm us. No, it doesn't. Nobody's out there who wants to harm us. It doesn't
I think
work like
we
that.
lost the
Yes.
connection. So can you please repeat this? This is very important. So a
Which
lot of
part?
people think that infection is bad because it's here to harm us, but in fact, it's the bacteria that
It's
are
our
trying
sludge. It
that,
eats
that,
our,
are, that are trying to eat the
What we're
undigested
excreting,
food matter.
or just matter,
help
but also
clean
that
up, right?
mucus that is being produced by the upper body and being expelled through the sinus passages. And this is where, we have this mucus, which attracts the infection, and infection comes and helps us get rid of it because it's eating it, and we are in a vicious circle. But the worst of all is that we think that the infection is the culprit, in fact, but whereas in fact it's the other way around. We have the food for the infection. We produce that food, which is the sludge, which is the pollution, and we need to be responsible, understanding that, being responsible for ourselves. Because like we know, if there is flu, for example, and not everybody's getting sick, right? Then why do we still have infection be responsible for it? It's not really so. Well, okay.
And then also wanted to mention that when people have, for example, runny nose, or they're coughing, they're sneezing, they have a fever. So they think that it's very, that it's just, it's a very uncomfortable feeling, and they do not like this, thinking that, they're being sick, it's a disease. In fact, it's the body trying to expel that mucus and toxins. So it's actually a good thing when the body is self-cleansing.
Well, that means that if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't cleanse, then nature will do it for you one way or the other. It will put you down to bed for a week or two. It'll produce the effect of fever in order to burn that mucus out of your body, expel it, and then you will have to, one way or the other, you will have to suffer this consequence. But it's better when you proactively take care of yourself and not get to the point where you need to suffer this consequence, develop the sickness. So that's in your hands, and if you make the decision to be responsible for it, you are well supported, you're very welcome. This is actually what the universe wants us to do, to become responsible for ourselves, for our health. And health is probably number one thing. Your own health is number one thing to be responsible for. It's not even your son or daughter It's not even your parents that you need to be responsible for. It is your health that you need to be responsible for in the first place, and then everything else.
Thank you so much.
Of
We have,
course.
and I'm sorry, I'm in and out because we have clients here. So we have two more questions. I get dizzy and weak when I don't eat. So basically, the person is afraid that he won't be able to.
Well,
detox.
this is the initial sensation of detox. It may happen so because again, it's the work of toxins within circulation. But believe me, we have nutrients accumulation within our liver that will last us for more than a month, you know, on dry fasting. Don't worry about it. Liver will produce that, we will take care of it for 3 weeks easily. I mean, it's not like we're not eating fully either, but if you were to fast 1, 2, 3 days, don't worry, you know. The only consideration and the headaches and dizziness, those things are because toxins get into circulation. Now they produce these undesired symptoms that, you know, that triggers the response, the immune response. The body starts working on it. That means that, okay, the body understands now what your action is, that you're pulling it into the detox. You're providing it with the time to concentrate on itself and start cleansing itself. The body catches on it and starts doing its best job. But of course, these things are unavoidable, especially those toxins, you know, they have the phantom disease about those toxins because they were born out of this disease and they were lodged in the tissue, that they have this phantom of disease about them. That means that when they're extracted, I mean, once they pulled out from the tissue into the circulation, that phantom will affect your mental realm, and you will feel some sort of experience, some sort of old experience, the old disease you will experience in a very soft manner, in a low.
So you would be like relieving those
rate,
symptoms, yeah. Right?
Yes, yes, and that only indicates that the detox started. And you know, if you're having extreme pain, headaches, that means that you've accumulated a lot of toxins. And that also may mean that you're doing the detox a little bit too quickly, you know, because if you accumulated too much toxins, you need to approach it very gently, you know, scratch the surface a little bit, like Irina likes to say, scratch it a little bit, you know, don't do 3 days at once, do like half day, do intermittent fasting, you know, get established in intermittent fasting first, see how you can tolerate that, and then develop further, you know, make the second step, and on you will go. And this practice will then turn into a solid, established practice that you will resort to in order to maintain your good health and treat some conditions, some symptoms, and even help your loved ones to treat their conditions, and accumulate the energy, harness the energy, that beautiful life-giving energy, so that you don't have to waste your own reserves of energy. This is what we're wasting when we're dealing with toxins, and when we're eating toxic food, we're using our inner reserves of energy, and we're using it not even for creating something, but we're using it to dealing with toxins. What's the point, you know, of wasting our golden energy on dealing with toxins, and not to use it to self-develop and create beautiful things, you know.
And that's why people die early.
Yes. And so what we want to do is we want to harness energy. We want to preserve our own energy and start harnessing the cosmic energy, you know, and detox will help you do that, will help reverse this process of your energy consumption, because food and everything else that we actually do, or most of it, is all about energy. It's not about specifically food. Well, of course we enjoy the taste, but what's more important, the taste or the good quality energy and good quality health, you know. There was a saying, I think there is no such taste that's worth your good health, you know, something like that. Yes, of course. And then again, you know, simple and healthy foods, they're very tasty. They're tasty. We just need to learn. We just need to learn how to appreciate that.
Yes, but they will become tasty after you do the cleanse, the detox, and the microflora changes in your gut from malicious that feeds on, unhealthy foods to good bacteria. And once you have the good bacteria in your intestine, this is when when you will start enjoying healthy food.
All right, what's the second question?
So the second question is,
Last question,
I tried the detox. It was okay to handle. I felt lighter, but after it, I went back to unhealthy foods and very hard.
Well,
Relapse.
that's logical, but this is also very logical. And even though we feel different, lighter, and everything like was mentioned here, this is the effect, and of course, this is something to strive for. This is the goal, kind of, to feel lighter, healthier, more energy, things like that. But then we just cannot do so much in one time. We need to understand there is no such thing as white or black. There is it's the mixture in between, and we need to go through this area step by step. And it's not like we're running through from one point to another, not looking back, because we have different factors involved in it. Our body, for example, is a slow and lazy entity that would not want to have much of a change. It will enjoy the change, yes, but then it will want to go back in its own comfort zone, and get back to the foods that is used to. That means that not all toxins get eliminated from the body, and they will start. These toxins attract they want the same food that they were born out of, kind of. Another thing is that you cannot transform the quality of microbiome quickly, because even though when we're reducing with detox, we're reducing the strengths, primarily most of strengths of the microbiome. And then even if we replenish the good strengths of microbiome, that does not mean that the bad strengths of microbiome will not grow again. They will little by little grow again. And once they grow, they will start requiring you to go back and start feeding them like at a full swing, and it's almost impossible not to drift back where you were. But that does not mean that you don't have the experience and you don't have the intention of pursuing your natural health further. And that only means that the next time that you do it, the results may shift and may change, and you may end up with a better results. And then so on as you do it, like I even before mentioned, if you do it continuously and with a good purpose for like 2, 3, 4 years in a row, maybe twice a year on a regular basis, you will feel that change naturally occurring in you, that your body doesn't much anymore require some of the foods that he was used to before. And it's not about rejecting those foods or getting the aversion of those foods, or thinking of on a different level, oh, I should quit animal products because I love animals. No, it's not particularly about that. Those are good factors too, we respect them, yes, but it's because naturally your body just doesn't want it anymore. That's it. And there's no explanation behind it. There's no explanation. That's all. When people ask you, why don't you eat animals, it's not because you believe in something else, it's or because you're a healthy nut. Well, you take care of your health, of course, but then it's because it naturally occurs, because it's in our physiology that we are the species that is not carnivorous, and we don't really require a great variety by nature. And once we're getting back into nature and we start speaking the language of nature, we're naturally becoming ourselves again. Just like, for example, gorilla would be a fruitarian, just eating one type of food all the time, or koala bear, that's just like one mono eater, that eats only that, and that's it, and survives and and functions
Thrives.
well. Yeah, thrives. Yes, exactly. So naturally, once we go back to how we were designed initially, and we were designed to roam the Garden of Eden, where there's just fruit grows, right? So that means naturally we'll just become that, and no explanation will be required of why you're not eating that or this. Is just because you don't feel the need. Yeah.
And also, as far as additional tips, when you when you do a detox, it helps to exercise because it helps to push the toxins out quicker. Take walks, especially out in the nature. That's very healing for the body and the soul and the mind on all those levels. And drink plenty of water, liquids, juices. And when you when the stomach feels especially uneasy, for example, and you feel dizzy and just very uncomfortable feeling from the toxins, you just feel like something is off, like you ate some bad food or something poisonous. It means there are a lot of toxins. Induce vomiting, so that may help. And of course, there are herbs. Like, for example, when we've done so many detoxes and regular cleanses for many years, and Dr. Nature here, he has wonderful ways of making those herbal formulas that just help to take out the toxins. And so is this a good time for the video?
I would say
We're running out of time, so let's do that.
Okay, so let us present you the video that we specifically made for this event that has some of good explanations, I think.
Thank you very much for watching the video.
What an interesting video.
Yes. So
All right. I hope the information was presented fairly easily digestible in the video. And if you have questions, please let's discuss them.
We have a few questions in the Q&A. Let's see. Is your offered purple sprout bladderwrack biojelly a higher grade of CMOS? Should we be careful of CMOS if we're salt sensitive?
No, it's made of a different than CMOS seaweed. It is bladderwrack. It's pretty popular too. Bladderwrack is considered to have little bit more nutrients than CMOS, I would think, and it has higher amount of fucoidants and alginic acids, so it's a little bit more nutrient dense than CMOS.
By many, bladderwrack is considered to be the king of all plants and algae. So due to its nutritional composition, unprecedented nutritional composition that has more nutrients than any other plant or algae known to man.
Yes, and of course, about salts, very good question about salts. Now, we need to understand which salts can harm us and which salts we need to take. And in fact, whether it's salts or not, it's not really about salts. Let's talk about elements, microelements, right? We need the microelements. The microelements that are in salts, they are inorganic. We know inorganic chemistry and organic chemistry. I'm not talking about the means of growing your crops. It's not like organically grown. I'm talking about the presence of a specific elements in the chemicals, right? Like the isomers specifically for inorganic salts and organic salts. There's difference between them. And the difference is expressed by the space model of the isomer of this element. That means that it can come as the inorganic compound, which would be like phosphate or carbonate, and like sodium bicarbonate, or that's the inorganic salt, for example. Whereas organic salts, they are chelates, as acetates, chelates, and organates. These are organic compounds, and organic compounds do not make salts harsh and forming the calcification. For example, in our bladderwrack, the salts or the elements are in chelated form. They are in natural raw state, which means that they are absorbed not as salt but as elements, and their form, the isomeric form, is the key for the elements to participate in the reactions of the higher tissues, whereas the inorganic salts will not be able to build the higher tissues, but will float within the bloodstream, forming the calcification or different other sorts of problems, like shifting your blood pressure and so on, but will not actually be useful and would not be considered to be a nutrient. The inorganic salt can only produce one beneficial reaction, which is the reaction of neutralizing the acidity within the digestive tract. That's pretty much the only benefit of it. But otherwise, the elements need to be considered to be taken in organic chemical form. Like I said, chelates, acetates, ascorbates, those would be the form to take the minerals. Minerals in the form of salt is not a good one. Now, when we cook our vegetables, we disorganic our elements. That means that they transform from organic to inorganic state, and this is how we end up with calcifications, for example, or with oxalic acid, which calcifies our kidney, for example, is because the oxalic acid undergone the thermal cooking, and this is why now oxalic acid is not going to be an organic compound. It's just going to be harmful. But yet people believe that it's like not good to eat spinach, but it is good to eat spinach in raw form. Okay, but when we eat raw spinach, we need to understand that any other inorganic calcium taken with it will affect the oxalic acid in a poor way too. But I hope this answers your question. And if you're taking, for example, CMOS supplement, that is not the raw supplement, then the chances that your elements in that supplement are inorganic and may not be producing the best of the effect. But on the contrary, may be complicating your, calcifications and formation of the stones in the kidney and in the liver too.
Just like regular vegetables, land vegetables, sea vegetables or seaweed, when it is cooked, it turns into basically sand and stones in the body. So arterial plaque, kidney stones, gallbladder stones, and so on. So we need to eat raw seaweed in order for it to produce the effect. But raw seaweed is
it's hard
one
to
second.
it's
We
hard
lost the
to
connection.
achieve.
But when we eat raw seaweed, it has such tough fibers that our body cannot break it down and process and absorb all the nutrients from it. So our bladder egg biojelly, and thank you for the question, Patricia. So our bladder egg biojelly uses a unique patented technology that turns undigestible seaweed into 100% absorbable biojelly. So, and the benefits of it are incredible, including detoxifying the body of even having heavy metals and other toxins, right? So balancing the GI tract, helping with focus and concentration, increasing your immunity, and also helping with cardiovascular issues, diabetes, even cancer. So
yes, if you are
question.
salt sensitive, and this probably would make sense to you to learn more about organic and inorganic compounds and minerals, and just go from there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I hope that answers the question.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and we will actually send everybody who's present in the webinar. We will send you information on bladder egg biojelly so you can learn more about this absolutely incredible functional therapeutic nutrition. Okay, and so we're running out of time, so let's wrap up. So we have talked for a long time about detox today, that there are many different ways to do it, and there is juicing, there is fasting, there are just so many different ways, right? And for those of you who would like to learn more in-depth information about how to do the detox, right? The science, the art and science behind it, and who want to experience a well-structured, comprehensive detox program spearheaded by Dr. Nature and me as an assistant. So please join our Rejuvenate Healing Detox program that starts on May 1st. The deadline to register is April 23rd because there is some preparation involved for the detox, before the detox. So please let us know if this is something you would like to participate in. Last day, today's the last day to enjoy $100 discount. So it's only $200 for 3 weeks of a guided detox, comprehensive program with video tutorials, with weekly meetings like this, where we answer your questions and we let you know what to expect in the next week, what to do in the next week. So all of the lists that we have created for you, all of the recipes, everything. And on top of that, you will also be able to purchase, if needed, juices and meals. You can cook on your own, or you can get it from us. So the program is absolutely incredible. And so it involves some preparation time, it involves some elimination of unhealthy foods, and then cascading, right? So we go to whole foods, plant-based foods, then we are doing vegan keto, eliminating grains even, then we are doing juicing, and then we are, as a restorative phase, we are doing raw foods, so for 3 weeks, and the results are absolutely incredible. We did not include any testimonials here, but the people who went through our detox program, they are saying this is the best program they have ever experienced. And the best part is that you will have all of this information on hand so that you can do this detox on your own anytime you want to. So this is lifetime knowledge.
Yes, and also this program is optimizable to your needs, and it actually has the explanation. You're welcome. Thank you. It has the explanation on how to optimize it to your needs. And it can be practiced at a basic level with a certain optimization, or as it is articulated now, or it can be adjusted to even the needs of a highly experienced person who has done lots of detox and understands a lot about it. It's still very optimal program, can be adjusted to the needs accordingly, and be very universal and practiced by practically, anybody with at any level of preparedness.
So sometimes we get a question, so if I'm not too used to detoxing, to do detoxes, will I be able to do that? I'm really afraid that I will fail. So there is no such thing as fail. You can always, restart, get back on the bandwagon. So, and we will be guiding you guys. So this is the best thing. So daily we will be communicating with you through a group chat. So yes.
All right.
Let us know, reach out to us by email, info@purplesprout.com, or by phone, 224-223-7133. Anyway, if you know us personally, reach out to us that way. And let's do this together.
Yes, we'll be very happy if you join us. Thank you very much for taking time today. Looking forward to working with you soon, and looking forward to having good results and sharing those results and looking into further perspectives together.
Yes.
Too.
And being healthy is something that we first and foremost owe to ourselves, and secondly to our loved ones, because when we are sick, everybody around us is unhappy. So, and it all starts with just one person in the family. So let's
let's be that person.
Let's be that person. Yes. We wish you to be that person that jump starts the transformation in the family.
Yes.
So please reach out to us if you need help with getting back on track with your health. Thank you.
Thank you.